are not exactly there for half just yet. We're about halfway through halftime. It's Ian Nicholas, joined by Jimmie Clark of Weathersfield, one of the men up there who does his own podcast. Came all the way down from Hartford County. Thanks so much for joining us, Jimmy.
Well, thank you for bringing me in here.
No problem. And here in the Dunning Stadium press box, just wondering, you know this team a lot better than anyone else that I know. I know many people from Weathersfield. But what have you seen, obviously, down early? You get the ball at half. You build a little momentum. What have you seen so far from this team?
Well, I know the Eagles certainly usually have sort of a lot of a running offense, and they're a lot better down when it comes to running, but New Canaan has actually been able to contain that type of an offense very well. So I see when Matt Silver is forced to throw, he can throw very well, but the same type of containment that's on the running plays is being used on the passing plays. It's forcing Silver to throw quick. He's not really used to it, although we can call him the fastest hand in all of Weathersfield. He's just not doing great with all those quick passes like he is now. And what he really needs to do is he needs to try and get himself composed, find an open man as quick as he can, and just let one loose.
And they've relied a lot on that deep shot, and Stickley's a guy who's come up big for them. How big has he been this season, and is he going to have to step up if Pace can't play in that second half?
Well, Rory Stickley is the kind of guy, I've seen him during the Maloney game when Maloney was actually doubling and tripling Pace. So really, he was a primary when it came to Pace being a more of a secondary receiver. Although in that game he didn't come up a lot, when he did come up, he came up big. I think he's got to try and make sure it's the same amount of quality and quantity instead of picking one. And it'll make everybody's job a lot easier down on the field for Weathersfield.
And you and your partner have done a great job. I mean, we haven't been able to hear you, but you cover all their games. You told me you hit the road a couple times, pretty sure. So this is obviously your biggest trip down here. And how you guys do games up there? How do you do it with your podcast? Talk a little bit about what you do up there.
Well, we got an app called Castbox. We actually ran last year. I started it for the Weathersfield, Middletown, Rocky Hill, Plainville ice hockey team that plays out in Newington. And so I started with that. And I got approval from our athletic director, which was probably one of the best things of all year last year. And I started doing a podcast down there. And if you don't know, hockey is a really hard sport to try and cover. You really got to talk like an auctioneer if you want to get it accurately. And so what I've been able to do is, with a lot of help, and I've been able to get the app Castbox. I started the Weathersfield High School Athletics Network, and we've done hockey. We did baseball. I was lucky enough to get approval from the coach to travel with the baseball team and go all over the state. Watching baseball and commentating, which is probably one of my favorite sports to do. Now we're bringing in football, and we actually started live streaming our games on our Blue Eagle News Network. And then it was now we're doing basketball, and we're going back to baseball and hockey.
Well, that's awesome. You know, if you're watching for New Canaan, might not be that interested, but hey, you got a lot of viewers. We peaked at 500 viewers in the first half. Probably a lot of them did not make the trip from Hartford County. So tune in with Jimmie Clark and your man, your number 2 man down there. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Thanks so much for coming down. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more exciting of a second half. We will be back with you very shortly. Jimmie Clark and Ian Nicholas. We will see you in the second.